Hi, I'm MJ from Linus Publications, and today we're going to do a session on John Roberts. Now, there's quite a bit to cover in his chart, so we're actually going to do a session on his natal chart, and later we'll do something on his transits. Now, John Roberts is a Supreme Court justice, and he is the head justice, and he is a conservative. But when it comes to priorities, he wants to make sure that he preserves the court's standings. So he doesn't want to have something come out that will be a backlash from the public. So he's very aware of how the public perceives the court. So he doesn't want to stray too far in rulings, but he can't really control the other judges. They can rule as they like. Now, Roberts is willing to compromise, and he likes the court to have modesty when they make their decisions, meaning that he doesn't want to infringe on, in effect, the the Congress branch of the government. So he really wants to stay pretty much in his lane. He likes narrow rulings rather than pretty broad ones. And he looks at what the framers intended. So he looks at the words and the intent. But that's usually. So you might want to say that he will do that when it serves his purpose. But maybe in other times he may not adhere to it that much. So without too many more comments, let's take a look at his angles because he's also very interesting with all the angles that he has. And first thing we're going to look at is the conjunction he has in his chart. He's got Uranus conjunct Jupiter. So Jupiter, typically you're looking at, in effect, the law, the legal system. And Uranus conjuncting that means what? Reform, new, change. So in this case, this is in effect bringing together the want to be disruptive. And it's disruptive to break all the old limits. But this also brings about novel legal arguments. So he would be very much into looking at something and even maybe taking it in a different direction to see if an argument might fit. Now, he likes to open up new paths in the law, and that's because of this Uranus sitting on the Jupiter. Doesn't mean he always does it. Now, he can be the type that swings from being retrenched in a particular path to actually going in a directly opposite one. So it's going to be hard to identify how he will make his rulings and even to generalize on them, because he might be a surprise. Now, that Uranus can be disruptive, but if we look at our next angle, and that's Saturn. Saturn is trying this conjunction, which means that this Saturn is holding that Uranus in check. And as I noted, in Thomas's chart, he has Jupiter-Saturn trine. What do we have in this one? Jupiter-Saturn trine. Again, this is a respect for the legal system and understanding how it works and being able to use the energies from both of these to be, in this case, even with the Uranus, but Roberts to be very pragmatic. So he wants to do things that will work. So he wants disruption, but he wants it to be very respectful, meaning it shouldn't be loud. It should be just sort of small, measured changes. So when he looks to expand something, it's a measured type of expansion. He probably won't go all the way on something. He may go a little way. Now, he is likely to have some type of enduring legacy. He likes to take and dispense justice with restraint. So he is not going to come in with a heavy hammer. He's going to be very light with the rulings that he makes. And not that they're not good rulings, but he's not looking to punish. He's looking to serve the law. Now, with this, he's going to be able to put some reforms into place. So I would expect that he's going to be able to take some of his ideas and work it into the framework of the legal system. Now that we've got this Saturn trine to this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, let's see what else is there. We've got a Neptune square. So you've got this beautiful trine, and now we have Neptune coming in. What is Neptune? It's the fogginess. It's the illusion. It's sometimes the visions that don't work. So what does this mean? Well, sometimes he's going to have that flash of insight. It's that vision. But he's not going to be able to ground that in the legal that he needs to. So he can have flash of insights as to how something should be able to be worked out, but if he can't ground it in the legal, it's not going anyplace. Some cases he may have an inflated moral vision. He may feel that something can be, of great value to society. And this is where, in effect, the Neptune starts to get foggy. Now, some of his opinions, he may want to try to have unity. So he may try to, compromise so much in bringing in different factions. But at some point, they may lose their basis in a constitutional anchor. So that can be a problem here with this Neptune. So he may go in a direction that just doesn't have as much anchoring to it. Now, if that's not enough on this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, we've got Mercury in conjunct. What is this? Mercury is the thought process. Mercury can't get there from here. But in this case, this can actually work a little bit. What this means is that since Mercury cannot sort of get there from here, remember, that's a break and adjust. So what's he going to do? He's going to keep on adjusting until he can get there. So this can actually work, but it makes him somewhat unpredictable, maybe a lot of contradictions, maybe a little bit erratic when he comes to thinking out things. In addition, we've got Venus in conjunct. The fact that we've got Mercury and Venus both in conjunct to this Uranus-Jupiter means that we've got a yod. Okay, so we've got two in conjuncts from two sides coming in on that. So that Uranus-Jupiter is a really important point in his chart. Now with the the Venus in conjunct, what happens is that this can cause unstable values, things that just shift. So in effect, when you're looking at what Venus is doing to Jupiter, you may shift to sort of maybe to compromise, to get along with everyone. But it means that you're shifting what's fair. There can also be emotional detachment here. Whenever you have Uranus involved with Venus, sometimes you're not seeing or you're not feeling or you're sort of back from the fray. And sometimes this is good when you need to make decisions, so you're not emotionally involved. But sometimes you need that involvement to be able to see the whole evidence of what transpired. Now, this may also, just to try and be harmonious, it may overpromise on justice. So that can be a little bit of an issue. But Venus is sort of light here, and it's going to work more towards, maybe with his working relationship with the other people and his one-to-one with people. Now, the last one I want to touch on, and we have a lot more in this chart, but we're not going to touch on everything. There's just too much, is the Pluto opposing Mercury. Control on what? Legal, the thoughts, the planning, procedures. So this is going to make him very intense. He's going to have an obsession with finding the truth. So he wants to know what the truth is in something. He might dig, he might ask questions because he's trying to get to that nugget that's going to help to define where he might head with his opinion. Now, when he's asking these questions, trying to get to the truth, he wants clarity in this. He wants to be able to see the picture, to see how something got there, to see where it's heading. But this can also make him very confrontational. So Pluto opposing Mercury, you like to debate. You like to, go back and forth with ideas. And this could actually be very good in bringing the other justices to discuss things, to sort of see, is there a consensus of opinion? So a lot of these actually, the number one, the emphasis on this Uranus-Jupiter is quite significant. There are so many angles here that come right to that. The Pluto opposing Mercury is a little different, setting apart from that, but it's still part of it, but it's more of the truth finding. And in effect, trying to pull the truth from people and trying to, with the justices, trying to debate that truth. Now, I hope you enjoyed this. And later, probably today or tomorrow, I'll have the transits for Rob. It's coming up. But I think his chart is very interesting. And we'll see what the transits is showing. So we can see that, he has a lot of thought process going into this. He's a conservative, but there's no reason that he won't jump over into other types of ideology if he feels that this is where, in effect, this is where it should be going. So he's open. Doesn't mean he's going to go there, but he's open to actually, breaking the limits that he had or what he's done before. So I hope you enjoyed this and have a great afternoon. Bye now.